Okay, I see the gameplay. Looks like we are good to go here. And hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy to see you all here tonight, as per usual. Welcome to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. With this show being show number 226, I am Invader, and we've got some news to go over. I mean, that's what we usually do, but obviously, a few days ago, something big went down. As I'm sure a lot of you know, Xbox and Bethesda have decided to delay a couple of games, including the hotly anticipated Starfield. We'll dive right into that. Also, some talk regarding Bethesda possibly being involved with more than one Disney IP. I mean, that's very curious. And some patent talk that may be exciting to Xbox Series S owners. We will go into all those things and more. But first, I got to introduce everyone on the panel. So let's see who we can start off with here. Tim Dog Buddy, what's up?
Hey, buddy, happy to be here. Got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to be going through most of the show. I got to get some sleep. About an hour and 15 minutes in. So we got to get to it. Very happy to be here. Great panel. Looks like we got everyone. And that's because I'm here finally. Thanks for putting up for me, guys. The last couple of weeks, I know I've been in and out. Just been working a lot and doing a lot of stuff. But we got a lot to talk about. Big week, and it's going to be a fun show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great to have you here, Timmy. And we all know you work pretty hard, so it's understandable. Crusader, buddy, pal, how you been?
I've been good. Been playing the Ratchet and Clank Future series. Finished all of them this week on the PS3, and now I am playing Mass Effect once again. It is time for my yearly pilgrimage.
It's like me with Halo 2. I don't blame you one bit, man. So, we all have our game that we go back to, or trilogy. That's just how it happens to be. But yeah, good trilogy for sure. Down the list here, General MLD, buddy. Great to have you back here again. Always like to hear your opinions. How you been?
Oh, thank you. Doing pretty good. I actually just finished Mass Effect Legendary Edition, put about 100 hours into it overall, did all the DLCs. I destroyed the Reapers, F those guys, but it was a great trilogy. It holds up really well. Anyone who hasn't played it yet, or yeah, just haven't gone around to it, it's highly recommended. It holds up well, very well to this day. So yeah, but looking forward to the chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, more Mass Effect guys. Dang. I certainly do love my Mass Effect, but you guys are addicted. Let's see. Shockley, Eric, pal, have you been playing anything this past week?
Yeah, just I finally got my Retro Tink 5X Pro. If anyone knows what that is basically like an upscaler. It's like a high-end upscaler. But the great thing, what it does, is it makes PS2 playable on anything other than like a old CRT TV. Because if you tried to play a PS2 recently on a modern display, it looks like you're looking at the graphics through a comb. If most of their games are interlaced, and it looks terrible. Well, this basically de-interlaces it. It makes it almost look like it's progressive and not like interlaced. It looks phenomenal. It looks like it's running off of like an OG Xbox instead of a PS2. So I was playing some Shinobi back on the PS2, and I posted a video of it. You want to check my timeline, and it's like, holy shit, this does not look like the PS2.
Right.
But yeah, definitely check out that video. But yep, that's what I've been playing. I was like, yes, now this is finally playable on, or PS2 is finally playable on a modern display, and I don't have to use my CRT the whole time to make that salvageable. Because that library is ridiculous. So it's great. I can jump back into it without old TVs. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, Shinobi. Damn, that brings me back. But let's see here. Moving on down the list, Centurion, pal. I know. Well, we played a few. The gameplay that I have going on now. I know we played some Strange Brigade a few days ago, but otherwise, how's your week been?
It's been great, man. Playing a little bit of games, obviously with you, some Strange Brigade, still grinding out Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. I'm having a lot of fun with that game, regardless of the bugs. There is some bugs. And I decided to buy a game that me and my wife could play together, and we've actually been having a lot of fun. It's actually a game called Farm Together. I never thought I'd be playing a game like that, but I'm having a blast playing it with my wife.
All right, that's good. That's good. Yeah, man, that Stranger Brigade. It's so addictive. You know, it has such a charm to it that I'm just like looking at. It, I'm like, hey, you know what? I like the look of that. You know, it looks pretty fun. But I don't know. Just like if you like, I think we were talking in the chat earlier. You were mentioning it like it's like the Mummy. You know, the Brendan Fraser Mummy, right?
Right. It's like Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. I mean, that's pretty much the game I've been playing the most of, just because we randomly bought it, and that game turned out to be a very hidden gem. It was on sale for like $8 on some multiplayer sale that Xbox Live was having. Great game. It really stinks that it's one of those titles that went under the radar, just got swallowed up by everything else. I also think that it didn't get released with as much content as there is now, because they gave you the whole thing for $8, and that game has a lot of content to it now, a lot of fun. It's definitely a game that if you have friends and the right people to play it with, you'll have an awesome time.
Totally. And we will play with your buddy Gingerbeard there sometime soon, and who knows, maybe some other people. We'll get some others to join in on the action. But yeah, guys, as a reminder, we're on a large number of audio and video platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble, Odyssey, you name it, we are there. We try to be everywhere. Just be sure to follow us on these platforms if, hey, you don't want to miss a beat, right? You want to stay informed with everything TXR. So definitely check the description down below for all the links. Okay, so why don't we get right into the hot news, shall we? And, that's the hot news that's been buzzing around the last 2 days. Xbox and Bethesda have delayed two of their upcoming games, Starfield and Redfall, into 2023. There's certainly been a lot of, conversations about this one, because, considering we thought that Bethesda were confident with at least the Starfield date, to say the least, they had made some, statements that, we felt that they were a little more firm on, but again, we'll get into things. But starting off here, Tim, we've seen a lot of passionate chatter regarding this, some disappointment, some applauds. What are your thoughts on these two game delays?
Well, my thoughts on everything is, first off, I think that it was to a point where I do feel like that it was definitely an issue, and it's an L, or you want to say to take a loss on it. It's not a good thing what happened, or it wasn't a good thing for 2022. But for me, I'm going to get a little long-winded on this, because I thought the community, Xbox community, I was a little disappointed in the way a lot of people acted, because for me, they acted like it was canceled, not delayed. Okay. There was a lot of sniping going on, a lot of people saying, what's Phil's management? Is there an Xbox problem here? And is there a management issue, with Phil? A lot of people had some really, big takes on it. For me, listen, Bethesda didn't stop being Bethesda once they signed on the dotted line with Xbox. I do believe that the delay just came up recently when he visited Bethesda. I think that that's when that happened, because there was a lot of indicators that they all believed that it was going to hit. So I do think that they had some type of heart-to-heart. I would say 90% sure that that's happened, and then Phil learned about the delay, and they went ahead with the PR on it. But I do think that these games should be judged when they're released, and I think that that should be the final verdict on how people are managing studios and how the games are going. Um, like I said, just really a lot of hot takes. It's still even a little, I was accused of shilling and a lot of people in the community were upset. Now I get it that you're upset, but there's levels to being upset, and I just, like I said, I felt like a lot of people went too far with it, and you saw Tassie's article, and you saw what Jaffe said. Uh, the thing is that 2022 is more of a problem for Xbox, but to 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 think that if they didn't even sign Bethesda, okay, let's say that they didn't do the deal, you'd be looking at Starfield for Xbox in 2024, okay, not 2023. So the thing that people are going crazy about, it could have been far worse for Xbox if Phil never did the deal, you know. So you have that. You also have the fact that uh, you know, like I said, I'm trying to come to the words with it. It's just tough for me because it was a lot of emotion with it. I could tell you this much: Xbox and people like Phil, they believe that they deserve the criticism. They believe that they have to be more consistent, and they definitely screwed up with giving out a date and leading people on that way. But I just think that you really got to look at the games. I think when the games come out, the thing that I just know what's going to happen is that when 2023 comes out, and you have Stalker, you have Activision deal with the whole library. You have Redfall will probably score a Metacritic of 85, and then you have Starfield, which will probably wow and be possibly a 90 Metacritic. You're going to have these people who have these takes today, that had these takes Tuesday or whenever it was dropped, that they're going to be praising Phil and they're going to be praising Xbox, how they turned it around and all this stuff. I could just see that happening. Nobody wants to hear excuses, but COVID was definitely a factor in here. There's definitely issues that we all knew about, that for some reason nobody can apply that to Xbox. We don't know. People are saying 2022 is going to have no games. I believe Forza is coming. So when that's announced, you're not going to have a completely completely dead 22. But yeah, listen, it does suck. We're all going to have to wait. But at the end of the day, I think that these games are going to be better for it. And, I don't know. I listen to the way the panel feels and stuff like that. I just was surprised at how really negative and how harsh the criticism was. People calling for Phil's job and saying that he needs to do this and that. I don't know. For me, it was a little much. And I guess we're gonna see. The only way you can really dispute it, like I talked to Rand, is when the games come out and they have to hit they have to hit what they want to pull out. And I do believe that they're going to push out 90 Metacritic, and Redfall's going to be they're both going to be huge new IP. So I guess until then we'll really have a feel. But it was a really rough week for a lot of people, and I do take L for predicting that it would come out, and maybe I shouldn't have done that with no gameplay show. I could definitely look at myself and say I definitely maybe pushed a little too hard. But again, things happen. And it's just not been the best of times for studios, and they're not the only ones out there with these issues.
Now, to be fair, Tim, I mean, we did think that like Todd Howard and Bethesda and Xbox, that they felt pretty confident, considering wasn't it Todd that was saying, oh, it's written in pen, not pencil, kind of a thing. And maybe at the time they were, but then again, because of the global circumstances, like I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but at the same time, every developer around the world has been dealing with, managing their teams and, trying to put everything together, right? They're just, a lot of them just returning to their offices in the past few months. I mean, it has been a struggle to say the least. And it's, I do think that there should be a bit of leeway, especially when you're talking about a game, in such a large scope as Starfield that we know that it's going to be. It's going to be their next genre-defying game. So, I mean, I've talked to a bunch of friends near me who are big Bethesda fans, and they just know that, it just comes with the territory that, okay, Bethesda delays their games or titles. It's not anything new. They're used to the bugs that Bethesda has, but at the same time, it's like, hey, if this delay makes it better, whatnot, or if it's not ready, just let them finish it. Let them finish it and let them do their thing, right? Because there's no need to push out an unpolished game. And I don't think that Xbox wants to see that as well, right? Especially after their acquisition.
100%, and that's the type of talk that I thought we would get, at least from a lot of people in the community. But like when I say the things that what I saw, and I'm sure you all saw it, like they were like, this is enough. I've had enough. Done with Xbox. I'm canceling Game Pass. These really crazy takes. I don't know. I feel like you could have people could have came at it a different way. Xbox definitely deserves some little blame here, and it's unfortunate. But another side of me says, you know what? These same people who are complaining and all pissed off in the Xbox community, they wouldn't. This is where it gets me. If God of War was announced tomorrow that it was delayed, then all of a sudden for these people it would be okay. So again, is it really about the game, or is it because of this stupid whatever you want to call it, competition with Sony and their fans? Is it because they have one leg up on Xbox fans with the big AAA, one of their biggest AAAs coming out? I definitely think that plays part of it, and I've noticed that all the time with Xbox fans. Everything could be going good, and then Sony could have a great state of play, and they announce some new things, Wolverine here and there, and then all of a sudden we got a huge superhero problem, and Xbox doesn't have this and that. So, like I said, I again, I just saw a lot of stuff that I really felt like I don't know, what do you really want them to do? Phil, is Phil going to come in there with, and start telling Bethesda what to do? Is that what people want? And because Phil is a stickler for. He's always been a stickler for hitting dates, and he hates the fact that they did hit their date. But you also have to be realistic. It was like, I asked one of the persons at Xbox, and basically their answer to me was, I can understand folks being disappointed for sure, but it's definitely the right decision. Being critical games like this cannot be rushed or released before they are ready. And that to me made a lot of sense. Like that's the sensible talk that I would figure that we would get from some of the people in the community. But unfortunately, I really didn't see that, and I saw a lot of knee-jerk reactions, and I'm getting rid of Game Pass, and a lot of fighting, and I have to say I was disappointed, and I was aggravated by it. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, and I just one sec. I do again. I agree with you, Tim, and I guess the question is, okay, we know that. Again, okay, I mean, Xbox is well aware of the fact that, okay, they just delayed 2 big first-party titles. The question is, what are they going to have, right? So, and they must have something, right? They must have a game or two up their sleeve to pull in there. I know we've been seeing rumblings of a certain remaster collection or another remaster in the works. Maybe they'll have a game or two to plug in when their showcase comes. We'll have to wait and see, but it does suck, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, I would rather have a game that's polished, that works well, instead of an unstable game that just doesn't look good for Xbox overall. That's just me personally. But yeah, sorry, ahead, Crusader. I believe you were
Yeah, I was gonna say,
chiming
do you
in.
mind if I go next? Because I
Yes.
think on the panel, I'm probably the most irritated.
No,
Based
go ahead.
on if anyone's followed me on Twitter.
Mhm.
I am gonna preface this with several things before I go into my take. Number one, I am happy that they are willing to delay games to make sure that they are of quality. I like the particulars of what they have delayed this year. That does not bother me. What bothers me is the fact that this delay has essentially tanked the entirety of their publicly announced 2022 plans, right? I mean, they haven't released anything in the first half of the year, and right now there is nothing that the public knows scheduled for the second half of the year. And why does this bother me? Well, I'm very public about the fact that I literally don't care about exclusives. I genuinely do not care if a game is exclusive. And that's a very different take than most people in our community. What I care about more than anything is the value proposition of Game Pass. It's the biggest reason why I like Xbox right now. I love Xbox for Game Pass because it's like nothing else. You know, if it lets you try games that you might not have. It lets you games that you would probably only play once and then never again. You can. It's a great service, right? And right now, probably the biggest selling factor of Game Pass is day one first party titles. And they had a $120 value proposition for the year with Redfall and Starfield. Now, Redfall, questionable. We're in COVID. They only said summer of 2022. Fine. You know, like I accepted that as a risk. But when you're hearing like a 18-month out concrete November 11th, 2022 date, that is like an almost set in stone kind of thing. And to come out and hear Todd Howard say multiple times over the 6 months following that they wouldn't have said the date if they weren't exceptionally confident that they could hit it, and then all of a sudden it's delayed. That's a big value problem for me because Microsoft is doing something that the rest of the industry isn't, and it is Game Pass, and they have to sell Game Pass to you based on value. It's not quite like the other consoles. Like I could care less about a game being exclusive to a console. I lauded Xbox for going to PC. I would not care if they launched all their games on PlayStation. That's a very hot take that a lot of people will probably criticize me for. But hearing that there is literally zero value from their first party studios is kind of not acceptable to me this year.
Okay.
Especially when since 2020, we have heard them say our target is to hit one game a quarter. You can't say things like that and then turn around and currently it's looking to your fans like there's the potential for 4 quarters in a row of nothing. Now, I don't believe there's not going to be anything this year. I do genuinely believe Forza Motorsport is going to come out this year. Not that that does a lot for me, but that's a whole different topic. If Forza Motorsport came out and took up one of those slots, it's perfectly fine and acceptable for me. It's part of the value. I won't play everything that comes to the service.
Mm-hmm.
But to hear them talk on, and even hear Satya talk on and on about it, that their goal is to expand this service and get one AAA game a quarter into it, and have all these things, and then have a year like this where great, they had to delay games. I'm happy they're delaying games to make sure they're quality, but that this screws up everything for for the year that we know of now. It's very frustrating, and I know they had to make a tough choice. It was either announce it now and have 4 weeks of malcontent and then have a showcase that will make people happy, or announce it at the showcase and have an amazing showcase that's completely made lackluster by the fact that they're delaying 2 large games during it. That's a tough call to make. I do think in the end they probably made the correct one, but that doesn't mean that it's not incredibly frustrating to hear that there is, right now I'm looking at the roadmap. I'm Mr. Leaks and Rumors guy, but I don't count a leak and rumor as anything until it's
Well,
publicly
let me
announced.
Can I ask you a question, Crusader?
Sure, go ahead. Dialogue's my favorite thing.
And that's why I love you. Let me ask you, give me 2023 lineup. And what you said is all true. But let's say Forza's delayed till next year.
Yes.
Okay? Let's just say we do the 4 quarters of drought. What do you think's on plate for 2023? Let's just go on and talk about that, because I think that might open people's eyes up.
Sure. So to talk about that, I mean, that still doesn't solve the issue that it's $180 for this year and nothing comes this year. But absolutely, I do think that we absolutely would have Starfield and Redfall next year. Now, would both of them actually end up landing in quarter 1 and 2, like they're saying they are? I don't know. But we'll definitely have those two. I can't say for certain when Forza Motorsport's going to hit. If it did hit 2023, cool. It's also next year. But the more games that get pushed into next year, the more games are going to subtly behind the scenes get pushed out of next year. That's just common sense. You can look, Sony did the same thing this year with their lineup. Every game that they're releasing this year was a game that was delayed out of last year. You know, Gran Turismo, Horizon Forbidden West, and God of War were all supposed to launch last year. And they have nothing that's launching this year, but at least they had something to launch. You know? Like, last year, they had a bit of a barren patch. But they've launched things this year, and they're probably still launching things this year.
Do you think
they don't have that service?
Right. I agree. And I think that you definitely, that's a solid point. And, there's really no way to counter that it's 180 not getting anything. But you do get some good AAAs. You do definitely get a lot of indies. And you get so you get sometimes you get the show and certain games here and there. Would you say that Avowed and Hellblade 2 would hit? And then if you do have those 5 games, what do you think that the take would be then on Xbox?
I think it would be great. I'm just tired of saying that the next year is going to be the good year, because we've been saying that since 2020. It's getting very old, very quick. Well, not very quick. It's been 3 years.
That's fair.
Avowed is a tough one, because would they release 2 major open world AAA RPGs within 6 months of each other? I don't know. Would the delay of Starfield into next year delay Avowed out of next year? That's a big question. Because you do have to think about how you are approaching your lineup. You don't want to oversaturate one market too much. I've been saying that they will likely launch one AAA RPG every 9 to 15 months. So if Starfield launches in the first quarter of the year, Avowed could launch in the 4th quarter. I just don't think they're going to want to oversaturate that market too much, because those will directly compete with each other and cannibalize each other. But like Hellblade wouldn't do that. Will Hellblade launch next year? Maybe. Again, it's all going to come down to the showcase in June, and that's going to overall, because like right now I'm not at the fences screaming vitriol and wanting people fired. I will never do that. It's horrible. Don't ever do that, people. But I need to see results. Does that make sense? I'm tired of hearing about what's going to happen. I want it to happen.
You know what? And you really laid that out well, I have to say. I can't really argue with what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if the community was more as elaborate and well spoken like that, I would have taken it a little better. But all the things that I saw were like really like.
Well, that's Twitter.
These I know these people, but they were very upset, and I get it. But yeah, it's just like I said. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
there are a few things that they can do this year. There's a few things that they can do this year that can make it better. Not a lot. This year is put them into a tough corner because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Call of Duty still has marketing rights with SIE until 2023. So,
Yes.
and we know from the leaked Resident Evil contract, or at least we're fairly certain, that with Sony's co-marketing, it precludes going onto any other service. It doesn't list Game Pass directly, but it precludes other like
Right.
going onto other services, because that would damage the marketing. You know, it would make Sony's marketing basically worthless. So Call of Duty's probably not an option. If they could get Call of Duty this year, that would be insane. And instantly I'd be like, well, there's your value proposition. You're solved, right? And I don't think Hogwarts Legacy or the Gotham Knights game could be a very viable option for the same reason. I think we know Hogwarts Legacy has PlayStation co-marketing. They had a state of play for it. I don't know about the Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights would be a solid get if they could. You know, that would make up a tremendous amount. Ubisoft Plus, you know, in some form, they had rumors that Ubisoft Plus was going to get tiers, so that wasn't always just the expensive day one version, that it was also going to be similar to a cheaper EA Play version. You know, you get the entire backlog of Ubisoft on, while it's not new games per se, that's a massive amount of content that can tide everyone over. Like, EA Play was a great get at the end of 2020 that I was very ecstatic about. So you can do the same thing here. It's just announcing this without having previously announced a better, like almost like a cushion. That's probably the biggest pain point here, right? And that cushion's not going to come until June 12th, unfortunately. So it's going to be people angry about this until June 12th.
100%. And you made a great point too, saying that strategically, that if they had kept this under wraps until the show, undoubtedly, no matter how good the show was, the talk would be the delay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that was smart that they got it out.
They know,
and like I said,
they know where the conversation would go, right? So
yeah.
And I would say, you know, there's people will say, well, why would they do this when they knew all along? I could, you know, you guys know, know that I know some stuff sometimes, and I think this is one of the cases where you can lean on me, where they didn't know anything until about a week ago. Like, I mean, and you can maybe criticize the fact that you know, but I think that maybe Todd realized that they've come to that point. You know, just a month ago, you know, you had Xbox tweeting the date on their thing. Aaron was talking about the date. They fully believed that they were going to hit that 11/11/22. I just think that Bethesda just, you know, realized it was too much.
mm-hmm.
I'm genuinely happy that they are delaying the game so we get a better game. And that's the weird thing, because when I talk about this, I seem angry, and I'm more angry at the big picture, right? Like the big picture of the value, you know. And but I couldn't be happier that Xbox is willing to delay some of their biggest titles. I mean, I was happy when they delayed Halo. Was that also a very painful happy and a very painful value proposition? Yes, but not quite as much, because half the game's free to play. You know, so I can't be mad that they're delaying the game. I'm just mad that we're 2 years into a new console generation and they have this bespoke, fantastic service that's just not getting the support it needs this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the console's not getting the support it needs this year. At least it doesn't look like it. They could do something ridiculous, and I will eat every last word in June. Every last word if they do something absolutely insane.
Again, and again, like, we still don't know what they have planned for the rest of the year. I mean, personally, I think they wouldn't delay them unless they had something covered, personally. And I just got to interrupt. We do have a 1999 super chat from Peter Sark. Thank you, Peter. That's very gracious of you, my friend. Imagine being mad about video games, especially when you're not the one putting in the time and work. There's an actual war going on in the world, and people are getting angry about release dates for a game. I mean, that's a fair comment, Peter, but at the same time, I would say that, I mean, there are other things going on in the world, I mean, at all points in time, and, there are things that suck a lot more, obviously more serious things, but, we're just commenting on video games, giving different opinions, different thoughts, and, some things do deserve, some debate, some healthy debate, right? And again, we're not like... we can give some critique, we can give some praise and whatnot. It's not anything very serious. We're just, we're just having a little critique, a little, it's just having a healthy conversation. That's all it is.
This is Crusader's hobby mad. I'm mad at my hobby. I'm not actually mad. Like, I'm not, like, seething. I'm not, like, brooding. It's just irritating, Especially since I do have money invested into this hobby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my return on what I thought I was going to get from that money this year for my hobby is not necessarily going to come. And I could have put it towards another hobby like Magic the Gathering.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Now, I would love to hear from some other guys on the panel. General MLD, but I'll pick on you because I know you definitely have some thoughts on this. I know you're gearing, coiled up, ready to go here. Well, what's some of your thoughts on all this?
Oh yeah, I got thoughts on this. All right, because first I think Tim was right. I did see a lot of Xbox fans tweeting rather emotionally, this is Twitter. It's text. You have an opportunity to think about what you're gonna say before you post it. Collect yourself, calm down, take the situation in. Yes, it's a shame. There's no sugarcoating that. But people had a bit of more of an overreaction from what I saw. I agree with Tim on that 100%. But I mean, looking at it though, we all know it'll be great eventually. The delay will ultimately be good. Long-term, Xbox is going to be doing great. I know, and we always keep saying next year's going to be the year. Next year will be the year. There's just no more waiting after this year. That's it. Their acquisitions will finally, all their efforts, all their investments, it'll finally pay off next year. Full stop. No more waiting beyond 2023 or the start of 2023. And these two delays will significantly boost that year and beyond, especially when the Activision Blizzard thing comes through. But people are upset about the short term. They don't want to wait. They don't want to spend the rest of the 2022 year thinking that there's nothing available. And I think, again, that's just emotional. We all should be a little reasonable and reserve judgment until after the June showcase. That is the most sensible thing to do because obviously they got some cards up their sleeves. Let them show what they got before we reserve judgment. And I do think they made the right choice saying Starfield will be delayed now, because if they did have a great June showcase, if they delayed Starfield then, that's all people would talk about. It would ruin the entire conference 100%. So I think they're right to take the hit now, but trade it for some really goodwill in a month from now. So, but again, I mean, yeah, I had a more of a level-headed take. It bums you out, but Xbox, they're at least committed now. They want the quality. They had a great 2021, and I think overall a lot of fans, people call me a fanboy. I know how the fanboys think, or even fanboys alike, doesn't matter. I think we all just came off a great 2021 for Xbox. The console, the brand had a lot of momentum, and people just want to, people want the wins to keep coming. We want to keep feeling the, it feels good. It feels good when the brand you are invested in is listening to you and improving and giving you games that you just want to play, and it makes you genuinely excited about playing video games. So for that essentially put on hold for the rest of the year, and people don't want to wait until the end of the year to be excited again. But again, I'm taking the more level-headed approach. Wait for the June showcase. Let them see what they got up their sleeves. Because I was looking up what Xbox has in the pipeline. I mean, the rest of the year isn't dry as people think. I mean, I think for third party, we've got Scorn, Exomecha, Warhammer Darktide, Ark Survival 2.
Thanks,
day
Dale.
one. Yeah, day one game. There's day one Game Pass games like Plague Tale 2, Sniper Elite 5, Atomic Heart. We've got some published games like Dusk Falls. I think Grounded's finally going to have its 1.0 release this year. It'll finally be out of early access. People are saying Age of Empires 4 will come to console. Rumors about the Gears of War collection, Forza 8, Halo Season 3, possible campaign expansion. Who knows? But at the very least, Season 3 by the holiday period. So we definitely got things going on, but it's just that initial shock, I think. But I think it's gonna be okay. Like all you gotta do, Game Pass. I do think, since Crusader was right, they want to grow Game Pass, and not Starfield and Redfall not coming this year. It may hurt the subscriber growth, but I think at the very least it'll remain steady because I feel like Game Pass still gets great games every month, something for everybody. Like again, I'm looking forward to playing Sniper Elite 5 this month alone. The sub will pay for itself in other games. There's so many games being added, even without these big headliner first-party games. 2023 and beyond will be fantastic. It'll be everything that we want it to be and more. It's just getting through the last rough patch, I'd say. The last growing pains coming off of last gen, where they went through the growth phase, the buyout phase, and only now are things finally starting to get to where we want them to. And it's just that last patch of people they want it to be over with. But I think it's better than what people realize after people calm down and just think about it a little bit. It's not that bad. The game will be amazing. So that's what I think. Save all judgment for the June showcase, and then we will revisit 2022.
No,
Ooh.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said, my friend. I mean, they did get hit pretty bad, especially with some deals they have, whether for marketing or like timed exclusive, obviously. What the heck is that game? I mean, okay, Atomic Heart, and then there's the other game that's supposed to come out in late December or early December. Stalker 2.
It was originally supposed to be out this April.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you got to feel for the devs there. It's, it really does suck, and it puts a lot of thought again into some of the hardships going on for those developers, those people, and so on. But again, just with Xbox and just how a lot of their deals have been have worked out, and the timing of things, it just that sucks, along with I mean, these two they sting, I'll admit. Starfield, I actually, again, I have to eat some of my words. I thought that it was gonna stick to November. I didn't think it was gonna move. I really didn't think so, because to me they sounded confident in the date, but again, it is what it is, fellas. And I would rather a more complete, polished game come out. But I understand some of the the frustrations in the comments. I really do. But what do you want me to say? I would rather them put out a more competent, complete game than something that just got plopped out there. So it's for the better. And I remember some people calling me in some DMs kind of crazy for saying that, from stuff that I was hearing and thinking, that Redfall was going to be delayed till next year. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of felt that it wasn't going to make it personally by the summertime. So, but that just is how it is. And that's just my thoughts. Let's see. Who else can I pick on here? Eric Buddy, what do you think of all this? Because, again, we've seen a lot of emotional responses. We've seen, again, a lot of different commentary. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate what happened. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of touched on most of the things, like surrounding as far as just like their planning. But I did see like a lot of people just say, yeah, we need to replace Phil. Like, he's, how much longer are we gonna wait? And it's just like, and they have 20 studios, so they should have something out. And it's just kind of a complete misunderstanding of like where Xbox was. Like, like coming in, they had like 4 studios that were making Xbox exclusives: Rare, Turn 10, Coalition, and 343. That's all they had. So that's the issue, is that that's not enough. You're not going to have a game every year with only 4 of those studios. And they didn't just it wasn't like, hey, Don Matrick left, cool, um, cool. Who's gonna? There's that whole part where like there wasn't anybody, really taking the head, because he left before the console even launched, and maybe Mark Whitten kind of stepped in and filled in, but there was no one to like immediately take his place, like how Matrick took over from Moore. And they didn't just like, hey, Mark Whitten just left too, so okay, Phil, I'm going to name you the head of Xbox, but we know he didn't get like VP until like 2017, and that Xbox was actually, he had to talk to Satya to get the division back together. They had split them apart, and then shoveled it under the Windows division. So the VP that was really in charge to like make big level, because you remember like more when he would like, make big either signings or big exclusive deals with like Rockstar, because I'm sure they paid out a pretty penny to get that Rockstar DLC timed exclusive for a few years. Just like things like that, or just hey, I'm gonna let Bungie go, and like so stuff like that's gonna fall under like Meyerson to make like, or basically Phil to go to Meyerson like, hey, can I do this? No, okay, cool. Hey, you're spending too much money on this scalebound game that we're still not seeing any progress with. Here's your budget, so you got to cut your losses at some point. So I mean, it wasn't like, hey, Phil had a epiphany one day. Hey, I'm just gonna buy all these, start buying studios like crazy. I should have done it years ago when I was named head of Xbox, but for some reason I just didn't do it until I woke up one morning. Like I'm pretty sure he was, knew that was an issue, and it was more about, hey, I'm not high level enough to prove myself, or because at that time we were hearing Xbox like might get let go, like they're like just debating what are they going to do with it. So I think that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, where it's just like people don't really understand, like just because he addressed getting the studios doesn't mean that's the problem. You think that games are going to come out in a year or two after he's just added new studios?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been less than 4 years. Horizon Forbidden West took 5 years to make a direct sequel. It wasn't even a new IP. For them to even do that, but a top of the line studio that we all highly regard in the industry, but Compulsion and some of these other studios working on new IP have to get out games faster than probably one of the best at their game. Like I don't understand. Like where do they think quality games come from? Like it took 7 years for the first Horizon. Like I think that's the issue. And then to say like, okay, well then they should have had other stuff planned. Well, Bethesda was supposed to be the stopgap. They were supposed to fill the void, while Initiative, was a brand new studio trying to find itself. Some of these other studios did have games that dropped after the acquisitions, like Outer Worlds. You had already deals that were still in place. Maybe they should have broke the contract and took, hey, we don't have any, Starfield might get delayed, but we're going to break contract, and Ghostwire Tokyo is Xbox exclusive this year. So we found a game, to fill the void this year.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
just took that away. Like they could have done that, I guess. But like that was a stopgap. So to say, I mean, plans are plans until shit goes out the window. Like you saw what happened. Someone already pointed out PlayStation's whole calendar last year got pretty much pushed out the window, other than the timed exclusive of an Xbox studio with Deathloop. And okay, at the time it wasn't a first party, but you did have Housemarque, but and you had Ratchet. So like, man, if Ratchet something happened, they pushed it back. I don't know. It's just like, okay, cool, replace Phil, and then the person that comes in next, you're going to be praising. Oh, look, they got Starfield out and Redfall out. Like they just came in after someone already ran all the bases and was like 5 feet from home. Like whoever takes over for him is going to be like, wow, you have all these studios that I have here to work with. I can do all this, all these projects are in play. And like, it's going to be super easy for whoever steps in, versus when he stepped in and what did they have? He had to like find somebody. The Coalition was like basically a brand new rebanded studio from their old studio that got shut down. Like 343 was like their veteran. Well, I guess Turn 10 was, but like Turn 10 was their veteran studio when he stepped in, basically. So it's just like,
and I didn't really elaborate, or I'm tired, like I was saying, but you made a great point that that's what gets me too, is that you earlier said that people are acting like Xbox was like we're back in 2017 and they haven't come so far. They've come so far since 2017, and they've fixed so many things, and they've got the situation where, I mean, if they they got the situation where if the Activision deal goes through, they're going to be sitting really pretty, and it's just I just think people forget that how bad it was and how potentially really good it is going to be, and it's just going to take a little bit of more time, and I know people hate that, gamers hate that, and shout out to Peter with the super chat. He's a great guy, and yeah, sometimes I think that stuff too. It's like, I don't know, we're just super passionate, super, we want, information every day. We want news every day. We want games every day. But from the reality is that they had 4 studios in 2017, and they were considering just being third party, I think, or just being a console maker and running the Windows Store too. They're on the verge of having 35 studios and being called a monopoly in 2022.
Now, we got Yobi with the super chat, $5 super chat. Dragonheart Yobi TV. Hey, if you guys don't know Yobi, great guy, very positive fella. He said, hashtag peace, love, life to you all. Stay safe, you all rock. Thank you for what you bring to the community, and just thanks for existing. You matter, and forever. Thanks, Yobi. That's very nice of you to say. Again, very passionate guy, very passionate fella. If you guys don't already follow this guy, you should. He's a really cool guy, this Yobi. Really cool guy from the Gamers United Guild. What a fella. What a fella. Actually, Shock, Yobi has a question for you in the chat. If they were to break contract, can they get sued for that? Like, how does that work? Do you know?
Oh, I'm sure they I'm sure they would, and they'd have to probably pay like a penalty of whatever, I don't know, whatever they paid Bethesda for those deals. I'm sure they would have to probably give that money back and then some, and pay some type of penalty. I mean, I'm no lawyer with those type of contracts, but that would be my guess. But yeah, and it set a bad precedent. Like, it would just be like bad. It would be cool for like the people on Twitter where they're like, hey, cool, we just took your, because that was the thing what people were thinking about because Sony had just showed those off when they announced the acquisition. So it was like, wait, what about those 2 games you just showed off? That was like 2 of your big major showcase pieces. Did Xbox just take those away from you?
The FTC ammunition.
Yeah. No, that too. Yep.
That's a big competition thing. Like, it wouldn't go totally into antitrust, but like they could get fined from multiple governments for anti-competitive practices with doing stuff like that.
Blow the whole deal, man.
Yeah, that's like why no companies, like almost all companies, will honor existing contracts unless there's like a key financial reason why they shouldn't. Like they're planning to like reorg an entire company, which is not happening here. Like they're not reorging the entire company, so like they wouldn't have a good credible reason to end the contract. Because like if you're terminating a contract because you're literally just not going to go ahead with like whatever project's being worked on, that's one thing. But like terminating this kind of project, like it's still gonna, like, Deathloop's still gonna release if they terminate this contract. So it's a very, very different landscape with that kind of thing. And then that's why like you'll see like most of the companies, if anyone buys anyone, they'll continue to uphold like current contracts. Like Embracer is upholding the contracts that are in place with Disney and Microsoft with Crystal Dynamics. They even publicly announced that when they said they were purchasing them. Like, these companies don't mess around with that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent question, Yobi. Good stuff. Really, really good question. Now, Centurion, I know that you've been patiently waiting to get in here because I'm sure you have many thoughts like the rest of us have had. Like, what's your take on this whole, like, again, Starfield, Redfall being delayed stuff?
Well, there was. Am I allowed to be blunt? Am I allowed to be colorful?
Well, be as colorful as you can be, my friend.
Color me like
that's
a
what
mantis shrimp.
Right. So obviously, when I flipped it open and I saw the Google thing, I was just like, at first, I was like, is somebody messing around? Then I noticed it was from The Verge. Other places were reporting on it. I was like, yeah, it sucks. You want to know my initial thought? It was like, God, thank God my backlog is a mile freaking long. I work way too damn much, like almost every American or anybody else who basically works. And I'm just glad that I found some extra time to play the games that I need to finish already. Yeah, it sucks. Does it cancel things for me as a gamer? No, my life does not hinge and revolve around Xbox, even though I'm an Xbox fan. And I even got an iced out Xbox chain that everybody has seen on Fanboy. Obviously, I'm an Xbox fan, but does this break my heart? No, I'm glad they're putting these things back in the oven. Look at Halo Infinite, a game that we needed to hit a point. We needed to get it out for the holiday season. Now we all see what happens when you try to piecemeal a game into existence. We don't want Starfield piecemealed. We don't want Redfall piecemealed. We don't want Starfield to look and function like CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077, a total hard drive nightmare. I have different thoughts on that situation too. I've noticed that developers are actually wanting to start dropping the older style of consoles because, no offense, there's limitations. They're wanting to move on. Maybe this has something to do with that because we got to remember Xbox only said they're going to make sure that the older generation was viable for 2 years. If you guys want to think it's longer, that was PlayStation that said 4. Xbox said 2. Guess what? 2 years runs out this November.
And to be fair, Xbox, like, going back to 2017, 2018, they were criticized for pushing out some unpolished games. I mean, for example, I did really like Recore, for example, but to call that a complete game, I mean, there was it was undercooked in a lot of ways, to say the least, and it was missing a portion of the game, and it was very buggy. So, I mean, again, if you're Xbox, you damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? I think, again, they're doing the best thing that they can by delaying it because, again, everybody's gonna remember a really shitty buggy game a la Cyberpunk, even though I know it's in a different state right now, and it can be a good game. I'm just saying that everybody still remembers the first impressions. So again, it's about leaving these positive first impressions, and I do really think that Phil and Aaron and all of them, they want to leave people with a really good impression of the games and the quality being pushed out by Xbox first party studios, because they know that, again, there's passionate fans behind them, and they really want to do good for the fan base. It sucks. I'm not saying the situation doesn't suck, but, at least let's wait until their show to see what they have. Like, maybe they'll have like one or two announcements. Again, it could be, a Gears 2 remaster, Gears collection, or so on. Right, Centurion?
Oh, for real. So here, let's put it this way. Microsoft has to have an ace up their sleeve, and every company does. They always have a plan B or a plan C. Let's talk about plan B for Game Pass, because we all talked about the value proposition of Game Pass. Microsoft can walk out with the checkbook tomorrow and get us a value proposition by making sure we're going to have some really good, excellent third-party games, day and date, take the place of those games in Game Pass to reinstitute that value proposition that Game Pass can offer. Now, if I can at least also shoot off the hip onto David Jaffe. I'm sorry, good sir, but when I wiki you, You are an individual who likes to walk away from a lot of things. Your own studio was a very short-lived hiccup in the gaming industry when you actually read about you. You actually walked away from Twitter and social media because you can't handle the heat in the kitchen when it comes time to make the bread, my good friend. And if you really want me to be truthful, let's talk about Phil Spencer, a man who has grinded and worked at the same damn job for 30 years. You have nothing to hold to that man. Sorry, it is what it is. You hide out in your home with your beard and you run your mouth about somebody who has put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears 30 years into a company, something you know nothing about. And so there is David Jaffe wrapped up in a good sentence. I'm pretty sure I'll probably be blocked by him eventually. I don't care because guess what? I don't need to hear somebody that's literally a hypocrite. He has no idea what he's talking about. Whoop-de-doo, Twisted Metal, God of War. Guess what? Twisted Metal is going to be turned into something that Sony wants you to have nothing to do with. They've left you out of the loop when it comes to Twisted Metal. They've already remade God of War better than you ever could have. They have moved on.
Holy shit, you went straight for the jugular.
There you go, David Jaffe. There you go. Yeah, guess what? Sony has remade both the titles that you keep trying to ride the coattails on. Let's talk about Game Pass. Yeah, Game Pass is in its infancy. 2017, it was a new thing. Yeah, we're 5 years deep, but it's just starting to get some legs. It's new. It's shaping the industry. I mean, like, there is no other product like it. So to really sit there and fault Phil Spencer to say that he doesn't know what he's doing, I don't even think Phil Spencer kind of knows what he's doing because it's a new product. You don't know until you find out. That's the idea of evolving the industry, being innovative and trying new things. You don't really know what's going to happen. I just know that Microsoft has always in the end at least tried to do what they do with what they have at their disposal. And with Bethesda, again, Starfield, Redfall was stuff that they were already working on before Microsoft got a hold of them. We all know that Phil Spencer has a big deal with quality. That's why he canceled Scalebound and shut down Lionhead Studios. And he regretted Lionhead Studios for starters. But maybe because of that regret, rather than, coming in and laying down the hammer, he's basically willing to delay a game to put out a good product. He's willing to take all the scuff and heat that comes with putting a game delay down, and he is hitting it head on. I mean, he already knew he was going to be a target. And Phil Spencer, in my opinion, who would want that kind of heat on him? But again, don't want to get up on a soapbox. I am with Tim Dog over here. I'm shocked that the community doesn't understand. Like, I'm just saying right now, if you're going to be out there saying that Phil Spencer sucks and that, this person, that you can do a better job or, better job this, better job that, I'm canceling Game Pass. I better be able to go to wherever you work and you have every duck in a row. And I should be able to talk to your boss and be like, has that dude been perfect the whole time he's been here? Like, not one falter. I'm pretty sure that's going to be like impossible. Like at my job, there's always things we're behind on. There's always projects being put on the back burner because something else takes priority. Shit happens. It's just what happens. It's part of life. And I'm just going to continue playing games, having fun with the games that are delivered to me, because in my opinion, I have way too much to play right now.
And it's weird that people are like, oh, he's it's all about management. They don't know how to he doesn't know how to manage studios. I'm like, because of Todd was saying, hey, I need a little bit more. I need maybe a few more months, because he said first half of next year. Maybe he doesn't hit it, but hopefully he does. So maybe they just needed a few more months. So now he mismanaged Bethesda. What? That makes no freaking sense.
Yeah.
What does Jim Ryan have to mismanage? Those studios that's the thing. They've had those studios. They didn't just get to this pinnacle of like being some of the best studios in the industry. They weren't the best studio in the industry when they released Killzone Shadowfall. Let's be real. So they've gotten to this point because of basically just putting stuff in place, making sure quality is up to snuff, and also giving them time and the resources. They've been in place and grinding and getting to that point. So what does Jim Ryan, now that he's the head, what does he have to do to manage? Like, those studios are basically like Bethesda right now, is They're basically going to run themselves. So
I
what is
hope
there to
the-
really
they keep-
mismanage?
I hope we get to see some of this same energy come the delay on God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, that could be. It could
Well,
be.
that's the thing. I
a little
mean,
more mega.
I don't want that game. I agree with you. I don't. I just, I think it's going to be so funny if that happens. You're going to see all these people who really took the screws to Phil and the community, whatever. They'll all have their answers, and all I
They
can't
should have
wait
had
to.
something else.
Dude,
Yeah.
Like they
the
did.
land
Well, for like,
GSP delayed or GSC delayed.
I
And
can't.
then the war happened.
Yeah.
So it got probably pushed back indefinitely now.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait though for these takes like Tassie had next year. If like these games hit and they're really critical successes, and it's like a really
I
strong year. Can't wait to hear all that stupid like ass kissing that goes on.
What if by
Uh,
some chance Microsoft heard through the grapevine that they know God of War is being delayed, so they took advantage of that?
Well, what if being in Sony's position, you're really thinking that Xbox is going to have Forza, Starfield, and Redfall in the holiday, and here you are. Yeah, you just released 2 games. GT7 did pretty good, and Horizon, probably a victim of Elden Ring, kind of really would have been better placed another part of the year. But now you're them, and now you see that, hey, our competition is giving us a free pass. You're either going to really try for it, or you're going to say, you know what, we can delay 2 with them, and also the shortages, which are still obviously an issue. They might free up a lot more when when we can release it in 2023. So yeah, honestly, I just, like I said, I mean, I'm not the most articulate today because, like I said, I'm very tired. But I just, like I said, I felt bad for just the way that, like, just the stuff that I saw, like the firing of Phil, and these are the same people that were, praising Phil and saying how great he was, just like 3 months ago when he had when he won that award and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think that you gotta stay a little more grounded in that. At the end of the day, it's only 6 months, and I think that we'll be very happy gamers, and maybe
Him
Game Pass
dog.
gets a good game, for just to help ease the blow too. What were you
Um,
saying, Centurion?
I was just wanting to ask you, not just like, I'm pretty sure you could relate to this. At least in my industry, we've seen insane growth. I know the place I work for has grown like threefold. We've seen how much growth we've seen in the gaming industry. I don't know about you, but with how crazy the past 2 years are, I think a little bit of slowdown is a good thing, because it's just been like, excuse the expression, just to the wall since the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, it's been crazy, and I think there's been a lot more gamers because of the pandemic. Oh, definitely, that's a fact. People
Yeah.
were just basically shut into the home, but um, it's true. It's you want to get back to normal, and maybe that's soon coming. But I do think that once they start to get these games out, that quarter game a quarter. I mean, they have like 35 projects supposedly in the works. Um, you know, those games are going to start to hit, and their promise of a big game every quarter is going to become a reality.
Mhm.
And I just want to add that from a purely business perspective, Xbox is going to do just fine. I think they'll hold the line until 2023 purely because of the 2 factors, the chip shortage and that Xbox paid for the chip priority. So I think this will kind of buy Xbox the time it needs to get its games in order. So I think from that perspective, I think they'll just wait this out because, hey, they got the chip priority. There's a shortage all around. So I think if everything was like normal, if stock was normal, I think maybe we would see like a bigger gap in the sales charts. But I think now this is like a perfect opportunity for Xbox to just get their stuff in order, and by 2023, hey, that's it. Like, hey, they're off.
Yeah, they definitely need good showings for this next month for like Starfield and Redfall. So at least knowing them getting delayed a few months into beginning of next year, at least you'll know like, oh, okay, cool. I really want to play these. Cool. I'm gonna get an Xbox because this holiday, because in a few months I'll be playing these games.
Exactly. Yeah, people will buy it in anticipation. So I think they'll do fine, just fine, regardless this year, regardless of what like the passionate fans are saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, lots of good comments, guys. Lots of good takes. Definitely a lot of variety on the panel, to say the least. All coming from like different angles, and even in the chat too, guys. Like honestly, some really interesting stuff, and it's great to have you all here. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the show so far, definitely leave a like and share this out just to let everybody know that we are live. And if you haven't done so, sub to the channel because we'd love to have you stick around. Yobi does have another question. Do you all think that Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo will still be the main three pillars of gaming for the future of gaming? I mean, I haven't seen any indication how that's going to be changing anytime soon. Google obviously doesn't seem to have very much staked in the game, unfortunately, with the Stadia. That's dying a slow death. And Amazon and their Luna, I mean, we don't really, I mean, there's just not a lot there at the moment. I mean, they are doing a little bit better. They actually have a couple of studios working on some things like New World and whatnot. But I mean, we haven't really seen any other competitors in the space other than, I mean, I guess Embracer Group. They're buying all kinds of studios right now in IP, but they're not making any console themselves. So I mean, to me personally, I just think it's going to be the big three, the Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony for the foreseeable future, the near future anyways. I don't know if anybody else has a take on that, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think you might see some more publishers arise on like the level of like Activision or Ubisoft or Square Enix, like those kind of big size AAA publishers, but I don't know that anyone wants to get into the hardware business. Steam might have a bit of a bigger impact on the kind of home console-esque kind of line with the Steam Deck. That might become bigger, but like I just don't see any company really wanting to invest in the hardware space unless they're literally buying one of the hardware space companies, and that would be a whole kerfuffle. Like if like Amazon or Google tried to buy like Sony or Nintendo, imagine the headline. Like I don't see a new one appearing.
Yeah, for now I just see the big three remaining the big three for the time being. So, but I mean, it would be interesting to see a new competitor actually be competitive, but there's no signs of that at the for now, anyways. But yeah, guys, I mean, interesting take with Starfield and Redfall. Again, we can go on and on and on about it, but why don't we move on to some other interesting news that made the rounds this past week? And there was a rumor going around that Xbox and Bethesda are working on, well, Disney IP other than Indiana Jones. And according to a popular esports commentator, it's claimed that Bethesda and Xbox have multiple Disney-based IP games in the works. Now, General MLD Buddy, like, what do you make of this, like, leak rumor just kind of making the rounds? Because we've got Indiana Jones. That was out of left field, surprised when that got announced. We haven't heard very much of it recently, but I hope to see it soon. But, what else could we possibly see here? I mean, there does seem to be a little bit of meat on this. We've kind of heard this before, so I mean, I do kind of want to lean and believe it. Like, what do you think here's a possibility?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about Disney and everything they own, I mean, we could speculate for hours here. I mean, I don't remember the source, but I do remember reading how maybe Mandalorian was floated around somewhere. I mean, Xbox has done a lot of Star Wars deals in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised with that. Yeah, the Indiana Jones, of course, but I mean, I think just anything. I think Xbox, they know that you don't want. Okay, I gotta put this delicately. You don't want to directly compete with Sony because they've been doing this for a long time. Like they've been, the Spider-Man route and all that stuff. But I think Xbox does see the value in the IP, in recognizing a popular IP, like an IP that a lot of people, hardcore casuals, will just flock to for the IP alone. So I think in that regard, it's better that they're doing something rather than nothing. And I think it's just a matter of just picking whatever's been trending in the last few years that Disney's been putting out. Maybe not the traditional Marvel movies like the Avengers, because we saw how that turned out if not done properly. But I feel like if they do a proper, maybe the single player route, I feel like Indiana Jones will hit that. Will hit the nail on the head there. Games that really just have a narrative focus, a single player experience, things like that. Maybe not go towards the live service element, unless the gameplay really allows for it or the IP kind of leans into it. But I am glad this news. Xbox should definitely be exploring Disney IPs and Disney deals. Again, if Sony's doing it a certain way, hey, let's see how Xbox does it when they break out the Microsoft checkbook. With any luck, Microsoft will do it far better than what Sony's currently doing because they got the capital, they got the investment. Like Satya Nadella says, they're all in on gaming. Well, this is the time to put the money where your mouth is. Like I'd say, outspend Sony in this regard and get all these popular Disney IPs and associate them with Xbox at the very least. Day one on Game Pass, get the traffic over to the Xbox side of things. The possibilities are endless with whatever IPs they can choose. I can't even think of one right now, but I feel like they'll pick some good ones. I don't think they'll go for the more niche ones. They gotta be ones that are that'll really get the gamers flocking to Xbox. So I say go for it. Only good things will happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have seen some, I don't want to call them teases, but I remember Aaron, what was it, a year and a half ago? Maybe it was more recent. I can't really remember it exactly, but he did tease kind of what was it? He had a Captain America, a statue on his desk at one point. A lot of people were thinking, I don't know. Could they be, be interested in having a Marvel IP? It would be cool to see something with Captain America. I'm not going to lie. Or are they just going to stick with Lucasfilm? Lucasfilm has some interesting IP. Obviously, Star Wars. We have heard The Mandalorian come up a few times. Or, I don't know. There's a few options. There's a few options for sure. Technically, we don't even know what the... how Indiana Jones is going to work out, if it's going to be a multi-plat or an exclusive. That would definitely be nice to find out. How about the rest of you guys on the panel? Shock Buddy, what do you think of this rumor? We know that Xbox and Sony, they're kind of not Sony, Disney, they're pretty chummy lately. Could you see them working on a few different IP from obviously Disney, Marvel, and Lucasfilm? They have a plethora of good IP to work on. Do you think Xbox, would listen to the fan base and try and get some more of these IP, maybe an exclusive title under their belt?
Yeah, that would definitely be dope. Hopefully. Maybe at least if it's not exclusive, hopefully that would be a cool Game Pass get with the Indiana Jones game that's in the works. But yeah, there's so many, especially how many different superheroes that they're superhero movies they have planned, and especially with all the multiverse stuff. That'd be cool if they could just could get a superhero game just to appease some of that crowd. But yeah, there's what we went over before, with the Mandalorian, there's so many different avenues where you can make, really get a studio that's capable, and you saw with Respawn made Jedi Fallen Order, make offshoots of that, get away from kind of the Skywalker saga and tell a more original story in that universe. So there's definitely potential, and especially with all the different shows that they're doing on Disney Plus, it's just another way to just branch out. Hey, maybe this doesn't fit in a show series, but hey, we can be a little bit darker in this and tell a Star Wars story in this part of the universe, and okay, cool. Well, because they got this definitely got a discount on the Star Wars IP when Disney bought them from Lucas. But that's where they definitely could take advantage even more so now than just like the movies. Now they have the shows. Now you might as well license it out. You already have some license to EA. Now Asper with Sony, and right now is going to like PC. So you could literally, there's, especially with Star Wars, like endless. There you could just pick something. Like there's so many books. Yeah, like it's endless on that one. So like you might as well. It's not even like, hey, is it going to be too much? Like, overload? No, because those fans are fanatics and they're going to play whatever they can get, especially after these bad run of these sequel movies. They want to wash that taste out of their mouths.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully it's true, but.
Oh no, one can hope, definitely, Eric. Now, Tim, I'd love to pick your brain here because I know that your ears are to the ground with some things. Like, have you been hearing anything about like Xbox getting like chummy with like Disney on a few things? Like, I mean, we've been seeing these topics, these leaks and rumors, like they've been popping up for like a solid, I would say, year or so now. Like, it's just, there seems to be where there's smoke, there's fire kind of a thing, and we're starting to see some things pop up. Like, well, what's your take here?
My take is that you look at some of the stuff like Bethesda and Indiana Jones, certain stuff like that. Like you also look at what Sony's done with their success with Spider-Man, and now going on to Wolverine, and obviously the sequels to Spider-Man. Doing these type of games with the type of studio Bethesda is, or their subsets of studios, make a lot of sense. So, like you said, when there's smoke, there's fire. I do believe they probably have something lined up with them. Now, I haven't heard anything. I know. I saw the tweet that said somebody had known somebody. I don't know how valid that is, how this all really started. But I can tell you that I do think that Xbox is looking at, big IP that way, like in the ways of Indiana Jones and let's just say The Mandalorian. It makes a lot of sense because you could have, you have your whole thing set up, your character set up, your world set up, and you can move on from there. There might not have to be so much pre-production involved when you have stuff that you can work from, especially if it's like Mandalorian. Makes a lot of sense in my opinion. So yeah, I do think that you're going to see some stuff, and I do think that Xbox probably wants to have some type of some type of competition with Sony going that route with, Marvel, Wolverine, Spider-Man. In my opinion, these type of games are the easiest to make and the best to make. If you have a good studio, Superman, Batman, all those games, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Star Wars. Those are slam dunks. They're slam dunks if you have the right studio. A lot of times these movies or these stuff, they were done by like really bad studios, and you would get these games released on the day of the movie, and they were utter shit. Or you get something like the Terminator, and it would come out the day of. But I think the way Sony handled it, I'll give them props. Insomniac handled Spider-Man really is a template moving forward for these companies to go ahead and take these Hollywood IPs and these these superheroes, these Star Wars guys, Star Trek, these noticeable big names, and convert them into games, and you'll sell like hotcakes. So overall, and I'm going to leave with this: I'm very tired. awesome show tonight. Made some really great points, and we'll have a nice show next week. I'll be definitely more refreshed. But I definitely feel like it's going to happen, and we're getting closer to June 12th, and we're going to have a lot to talk about then. So, great show tonight, guys, and I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good, Timmy. You have a good night, and definitely get some sleep. But let's see. Moving on down the list here. Who haven't I gotten to? I'll pick on.
You haven't done me or Centurion.
I'll pick on Centurion. I'll definitely want to pick on Centurion. I want more of Centurion soapbox. I want some more Centurion comments. I'm just teasing, Cent. I'm just teasing. But Cent, yeah, I would love your take on.
Why
this.
was the rant too much?
You rant? I have no idea what you're talking about.
I didn't want to call it a rant. It was just, I don't know, just delivering my opinion and telling David Jaffe to be quiet.
No, I'm just teasing, bud. I'm just teasing. But yeah, I would love to get your thoughts on this because again, there are a lot of rumors that get put around, but we have been hearing again some bits and pieces, some little tidbits that they do seem to be adding up here, and I do think Tim made some pretty good points there at the end. Yeah, what do you think of this? Could we be seeing some I don't want to say Marvel IP or Lucasfilm, but generally just some Disney IP? Like, do you think that we will see not just Indiana Jones, but again just Bethesda playing around with some more Disney IP?
Be great. We've seen some Disney IP appear in other games that are totally off the shoot. We saw what was it? Kingdom Hearts. Definitely Disney is an interesting rogue in gaming because they got out of gaming completely. They don't have any gaming companies underneath their umbrella that I'm aware of. They sold everything off, but they have no problem licensing out their IPs for gaming. Which really seems really cool that Disney wants to do that. Now, obviously, every time we talk about, any company, Disney's going to let somebody make a game, the conversation instantly goes to Star Wars, something from LucasArts, or the Marvel universe. Obviously, both are very expansive universes. There's a lot of potential. Guaranteed there's probably a game or two somewhere from either one of those universes in the works. Also same, I think somebody also just said another one here. Indiana Jones. That's going to be a really interesting one for me. I mean, I would love to see Bethesda's take on Indiana Jones. In my opinion, I can't even name off top of my head a really good Indiana Jones game, so it'd be awesome. But let's really also explore the idea that there's a lot of IP under Disney. Disney has been making movies and television and entertainment experiences for a very long time. There is a lot of IP underneath them. A lot of it can be dormant. Other stuff is still used, but not as heavily. I really think, when I really thought about the conversation today and what I would like to see them do, call me a little bit weird, but there was one idea that popped in my head about how it'd be nice if Disney reached into some of their other franchises. We saw the success of how Pirates of the Caribbean completely revitalized Sea of Thieves. In my opinion, I think it would be nice to have an RPG in the Pirates of the Caribbean world where you'd be able to have all the characters that you saw in the movies and just that whole universe that was created by that. There was also another idea that I was chatting with someone about, like, imagine if they did a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea style RPG. Now you're going into BioShock world. You could RPG out the Nautilus and actually add tech to it over time. And I mean, there's the conversation when I was chatting with somebody at work about it. Definitely, there's a lot of potential with Disney IP, a lot of it old, that I would love to see revitalized. I mean, I really feel that we have beat the Star Wars franchise into the ground. It would be great to have a Mandalorian game, but I just really do feel that, some things can be played out real quick. And ever since they have acquired Marvel and Star Wars, it has been Marvel and Star Wars, Marvel and Star Wars. One year it's Marvel, the next year it's Star Wars, the year after that it flips back over to the other one. I would like to see Disney start branching out with some IP that they've already established and to kind of let some things have a little bit of a rest.
Okay. All right. No, I definitely see your train of thought there. Very, very interesting take. And yeah, I mean, they got a lot to choose from, that's for sure. But they've been close to Sony with a lot of their Marvel IP, whether it be Spider-Man, Wolverine, and so on. I would like to see Xbox in on a little bit of that for sure. Now, Crusader Bud, you've been sitting pretty patiently there, and I know you're always onto like the leaks and rumors. That's your thing, Crusader.
Yep.
What are your thoughts here? Like, have you been hearing anything?
So, we are gonna go back on a little ride of like 2 years of posts here, real quick. So it'll be quick. But first, Disney's definitely licensing their IPs out everywhere. I was having a nice talk with Dotsarus in chat literally after the show last week about Disney stuff. And Disney has 14 licensed games in development that have not released right now. 14 that we know of. So Disney's the king of low risk ventures, and licensing your content for video games is for them low risk because they license the IP out, they get a fee in return, and for some things they do some like storyboarding control. Like for Star Wars, they have like a council of like lore nerds who make sure that everything fits within the overarching story of the universe, which is good because they didn't used to have that under old Lucasfilm. So Disney's definitely willing to license stuff out. Now let's look at Xbox's side. Historically, in the early 360 and original Xbox generation, Microsoft loved to do licensed content. Then that died off a lot during the later 360 period, and almost completely died off during the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
They did not like doing licensed content from stuff. But Phil said so in an interview last year about the Pirates thing. But when he said so in the Pirates thing, he says it makes more sense for them to do it now with Game Pass and where it makes sense for their studios, right? So is Xbox up for it? Yeah, I think they are, because big names sell Game Pass. Like, let's be real, big IP sells Game Pass, and it's hard to beat some of the big IPs that exist outside of games.
Well, again, look at Guardians of the Galaxy, a game that's been out for, 6 or 7 months, goes into Game Pass. I downloaded it. I'll admit I still have yet to play it, but I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. Don't worry. But it's been getting a lot of praise, even just for, because it's a quality game. So, but yes,
precisely.
Continue.
And it was a big deal when, in 2020, when Jedi Fallen Order came to Game Pass. Like, because EA Play hit Game Pass, and the day it hit Game Pass was the day that Fallen Order was added to Game Pass. I don't know if anyone remembers that. So it was a big deal that Fallen Order came to Game Pass like immediately, and that was huge because Fallen Order is an excellent single player game as well. So Xbox is down for it, Disney's down for it. So let's look at what we already know. We know when Indiana Jones was announced, Todd Howard went on like a little interview tour, and he was recording himself. He, like Phil Spencer, is known for having crap on their desks, right? And he had on his desk, when Bethesda was acquired, or it was announced to being acquired, before they announced Indiana Jones, he had a golden Indiana Jones idol, and he had C-3PO and R2-D2, right? Later, we found out that, oh my god, they are in fact making an Indiana Jones game. And that led a lot of us at the time to believe that, okay, maybe we are getting a Star Wars game too. It has yet to be announced. And there was a rumor that of, I'd say, a solid 40-60 credibility. 40, I believe it. 60, I don't believe it. Of a MMO being made at ZeniMax Online Studios for The Mandalorian. And this was not this happened a few weeks back, right? It was the Skullsy tweeted it out. There was the whole kerfuffle about it because major parts of what he tweeted were false, confirmed false by quite a few people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the whole thing was not discredited. Only, quote, parts. We don't know what parts. So could that be happening at ZeniMax Online Studios? Yes, it could. There was also rumors of a Marvel PvEVP game. So like it's you versus the environment, but there's also versus other players. Kind of like one of the two big examples that I can give of games like that are Destiny's Gambit mode or I think it's called the Dark Zone in the Division. If anyone's played the Division, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's called the Dark Zone.
I believe so.
Where you're fighting
No,
the environment.
it's called the Dark Zone. It is.
Yeah. Okay. And there was rumors that Roundhouse Studios, the one studio that we know literally nothing about at all, like there's no credible leaker, like with real credibility, saying anything about Roundhouse Studios, formerly Human Head Studios. So there's only two rumors of very like, I don't know, I can't say that it's any degree of correct or incorrect because, you know, one of them's that they have a Marvel PvEVP game in development. That sounds neat. The other one that was even more of a, I don't know that I believe it, was a Planet of the Apes third-person action adventure game at Roundhouse Studios.
See,
so
go on. Finish.
Yeah, and people don't like think about that. Disney owns 20th Century Fox. There's stuff like Alien, and the Planet of the Apes and stuff like that comes from the 20th Century Fox side. That's, I don't want to say less. It's definitely lesser known than Star Wars, but I wouldn't call Planet of the Apes or Alien lesser known. Does that make sense?
Oh, no,
it's
it
just
does.
things that people don't associate with Disney because Disney hasn't owned 20th Century Fox that long. And they still use the 20th Century Fox branding for that. Like they use Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm. So, you know, we have that, and there's lots of studios that could be making these kind of things, especially on the Bethesda side. On the Xbox side, it's a little bit tighter. The Coalition could be doing something with their smaller project. The really far out In Exile game could be it. I think the new one's a new IP because it's the whole leak about Project Cobalt is that it's it's like industrial steampunk. So I don't think that really fits any Disney property. Project Midnight, I'm pretty sure, is an original IP, so I don't think it's compulsion. Double Fine doesn't usually like doing licensed stuff because Tim Schafer likes doing really weird and strange nonsense, which I love Tim Schafer for. Psychonauts is incredible. So there are the studios there at Xbox that could be doing it, and a project happening between Disney and Xbox does not necessarily mean it's happening from a first-party studio. A big example of that is they announced that weird like Stardew Valley Disney character Sims-like game like a week ago, and that's coming to Game Pass, the premium version. Because there's like a free-to-play version and there's like a premium paid version. And I'm fairly certain, at least the preview of it's coming to Game Pass. But I thought the premium version was also coming to Game Pass. Could be wrong there. I didn't read too much into it because it's not a game for me at all. So I have a feeling that Disney likes Game Pass because it itself likes the kind of subscription model, right? They like Disney Plus. Disney Plus does great work for them. They have put Disney Plus subscriptions almost every time a major show has come out on Disney Plus as a Game Pass perk. You know, we had it for WandaVision, Loki, and what's the other one? Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Hell, they had the Captain America and the Winter Soldier ad campaign with Disney, right? Where it was like Anthony Mackie at a GameStop. Yeah. Talking about how he had been snapped away and what did he miss, and it was a Game Pass ad. You know, so I have no doubt in my mind that Microsoft and Disney are working out deals for like all kinds of things, whether it be this game that we're publishing with some third-party studio. Yeah, we at Disney want it on Game Pass, and that studio also wants it on Game Pass. So let's get it on Game Pass, right? I think that could be a big thing.
Okay. All right. Again, like these are just rumors, supposed leaks, guys. We'll just, take them with a grain of salt. But I just do find it interesting that they do keep popping up. And again, maybe where there's smoke, there's fire. But hey, you never know. But you know what, guys? On that note, we'll move into our final bit of news, final topic. And a very interesting patent popped up earlier this week. Microsoft has filed a patent for a method of externally validating ownership of game discs, meaning that it could let Xbox Series S owners access physical games in some ways. I mean, that's, that to me, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I've got lots of physical games just lying around. So, I mean, if I had a Series S, I mean, that would definitely be catching my attention. Centurion Bud, I'll lead off with you on this final topic. Like, what do you think of this patent? Because, I mean, I would assume for Series S owners, I mean, this would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it'd be a big deal. Do I think it's cool? Yes. I mean, let's be frank, they're blowing the dust off of an old concept. Does anybody remember the Xbox 360 HD DVD drive?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had one. I'll say it, I had one. It feels like yeah, you're gonna have an external device. Now, that could actually be used obviously on a much larger scale. Microsoft could then obviously create an external disk drive to run these discs, but then also slap a 4K Ultra DVD, 4K Ultra Blu-ray laser in there, and now you have an external 4K drive for the Xbox Series S, which would honestly be really cool. I mean, that would get some head turning right there. A very cheap, affordable 4K Blu-ray player. Um, in my opinion, though, when it comes to the validation of games, I am not going to be one of these guys that sit there and say, validate it once, it's mine forever, never validate it again. We don't live in that world. People are constantly trying to get into our personal information. There's people out there that want what you have, and they will take it if you let them. And by not being able to digitally validate games more than one time is, in my opinion, I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. It's part of buying a game digitally. It's what happens. I do feel there should be easier processes. We already use a cell phone in setting up our Xboxes when we pull them out of the box for the first time and we're setting them up, and we can migrate over all our information from our old Xbox, and we use our cell phone to facilitate all that. I really do feel that because we all do have cell phones, Microsoft should have something put into the Xbox app. So when there is things like Xbox Live is down, you're able to go in and pretty much get some, because let's put we all know how two-step verification works. When we all do two-step verification, Microsoft gives us account keys to basically use in case we ever lose that phone, so that way we can get in without the phone. That's the whole purpose of having those pass keys. I really do feel that Microsoft should be able to issue pass keys when Xbox Live is down. I'm not saying they give you a million of these pass keys so that way you can play every game in your library. I'm saying maybe give you a couple, 3, 4, maybe 5. How many more could you need? Because how long is the longest shutdown of Xbox Live ever been? So let's be honest on that. But yeah, I really do feel there should be a little bit of a passkey process for users to use their phone to be able to basically force their Xbox into validating a game by using the phone. Because just the other day, my internet went down in my house. I did not have any access to my games. So I hotspotted my cell phone. I set it right next to my Xbox, and there was enough internet going through my cell phone for the Xbox to basically validate these games to allow me to play single player games. I wasn't going to play no online multiplayer, but at least I had enough juice to validate my games. That's all I was looking for. And I really do think that Microsoft could tap into that.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty good explanation. No, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see here. MLD, buddy. I mean, I don't know if you have a Series S or not, but I mean, do you think that this would be pretty handy? I mean, to me personally, I could see it being a great advantage, especially if you have, a plethora of a large library of physical games, and you want to be able to, again, transfer them over. That would be nice with some kind of verification. What are your thoughts?
Well, I am a Series X owner, but I do see the value in this. This is it's going to be a big thing because Series S is actually a big seller. My Xbox, they're clearly investing a lot of resources into it. They're making as many Series S's as they possibly can, given the global circumstances. So it seems like this is like the next logical step. So yeah, there have been some DRM concerns as of late. I think we all know what that is about, but. No, this is all part of the process. I totally support this, and whoever wants it should be able to have it. So, here's hoping that that this actually becomes something real, something that you can maybe buy sooner rather than later, and yeah, take advantage of all the Series S's out there. Just you could do more. I mean, there's nothing to complain about here. It's just Xbox just taking the next step and just listening to people and thinking ahead. So I'm all for this.
All right, well said. How about you, Eric? Do you agree with the rest of the guys? I mean, having more options is always a good thing, and expanding upon current options. Being able to authenticate an Xbox game and allow players to access digital version of that title for the Series S system. Do you think that would be a big win if it actually got announced? Let's see. Oh, I don't know if he heard me or not.
Dude, my bad.
Oh, okay.
I was muted. No, I mean that seems pretty cool. It actually kind of reminds me of like when Xbox One first announced, and that's like how their system was gonna work. Like you just buy the game and it just kind of unlock the key, and it basically was like digital, and then it basically just became like just a way to like a key, almost like a PC game back in the day. But that'd be a cool way if you could like permanently like transfer it over. I don't know if they could ever do that for like the 360 games that got delisted. Be like, hey, probably not, because then you could easily just like, sell it or just trade it in, or pretty much anyone could infinitely like get it or unlock the digital version. But for all the ones that haven't been delisted, that would be cool if we could kind of like trade it in or transfer it or something, but just switch it to a digital. But I'm not sure how that would really work, because with the whole trade-in part, I think they kind of did it though with some what was it? I'm trying to think. Like when they did the upgrade path, like from PS4 to PS5. I don't remember exactly what it was, but because I think it was with the whole smart delivery thing. Like it was easy for Xbox, but then if you bought the PS4 version, I forget what game it was, but yeah, I mean, I think there's a cool way they could do it, but I mean, anything could help the whole DRM PR situation. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we all remember that from way back when, that fiasco. But now we're used to DRM, so it's all good now. Let's see. Crusader, do you want to chime in on this? I mean, isn't an interesting patent that did pop up.
Yeah, I think it's great. A lot of things get patented and never anything come from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would absolutely love this. It sounds like a fantastic idea. My only concern would be it could be a potential attack vector for like exploiting the console. Just because you're essentially running an executable from a hard drive. But they seem to have that locked down fairly well with the external USB hard drive, so like that's not a real concern for me. That would be the only thing like I would hope they'd be looking into. Otherwise, like this is a fantastic idea, and I think like it's I would hope that it would almost work on not that I could play my games on PC, but like I think it was Centurion said that you could like play like use it as like a regular like Blu-ray player too, and play basically any kind of like Blu-ray disc off of it, and essentially turn the Series S into a disc system.
I would buy that just for that feature, because like people don't realize when you lose your internet connection or Xbox Live goes down, your Blu-ray drive goes down in your console because it doesn't have access to the app to run the software. I would love a hardware-based solution for that problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, it just sounds like a good idea. Nothing more to say than that.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's a fair comment. Honestly, simple but to the point. I get it, and I agree. I would like to see it come to fruition. And guys in the chat, definitely let me know what you think about it. Like Crusader said, you know, we see patents pop up all the time, but you know, do they always come around? No. But I personally would like to see this come sometime soon. You know, I think it would be good, especially in the day and age that we live in, right? And why not? It's always good to have more options on the table for everybody and more accessibility to your game library. So, hey, I'm all in on that for sure. But you know what, guys? All right, I think that we've covered everything that we've needed to for the night, and lots of tongue-tied. Interesting takes, certainly a variety of them, and you know what? I appreciate that from this amazing group that we have here. We have like a a wide variety of takes, but you know, we all kind of coalesce around each other, and I really do like this group. And you know what? We covered Xbox delaying Starfield and Redfall into next year, rumors of Bethesda handling multiple Disney IP, and some interesting patents that would greatly help the Xbox Series S. So, yeah, covered some pretty good stuff here. Lots of stuff. But without further delay, guys, time for the outros. Moving on here, we will start off with Centurion. Buddy, I thought you had a fantastic show. Loved your points. Where can all these fine people listening in and people in the chat, where can they follow you at?
Well, thank you, Invader, and thank you, everyone here. It was an awesome show tonight. Enjoyed the chat and all the comments. Thank you to everybody in the chat for joining us. For those interested in finding me, please find me right here on YouTube, Xbox Live, and Twitter at Centurion1307. You can also find me on the TXR Podcast every Sunday night with these fine gentlemen. And you can also find me every Wednesday night on Gaming Beyond the Box with Wilmy Hood, Bomber, and the rest of the amazing crew over there on that podcast as well.
All right. Yeah, good stuff. Moving on down here, Eric Shockley, pal. Again, I like Centurion. I thought you had some really well thought out points tonight, and just again, fun show overall. Where can these fine people follow you at?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at Shocknero on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live. But yeah, good show tonight. Good to have everyone here, especially for this week's. Hopefully, we get some good news in a month, and hopefully be like, oh, okay, cool. You know, we're hyped for those two games. We finally got to see them. And okay, those will be worth the wait. That's what could. It was a good thing they released the delay now, so that we can get that out of your bad taste out of your mouth, and then that way, hopefully, when we see them in a month, it's like, okay, cool, I can wait. But yeah, it sucks. But yeah, good show tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I hear ya. We will. Hey, tomorrow's Monday. You never know what the start of the week, what they'll lead off with, right? So yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't bury that on a Friday. They did it like midweek. I'm like, really? You picked today? Okay.
Yeah.
At least you didn't pick Monday, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I did notice that too, that they didn't pick a Friday. Well, maybe that's how bad it was. How they considered it. Maybe they wanted Friday to be more of a buffer, right? So like an extended
we should have
weekend.
Game Pass news this week, right? We should have Drop 2 this week, I think.
What?
May Drop 2 for Game Pass.
What, games in Game Pass?
Yeah, shouldn't we have that announcement this week on Tuesday?
I mean, I know we got Uden Chronicles. I need to jump on that this week in spiritual successor.
A good question.
Definitely try that.
I'll have to keep more up to date on that. I'll have to find that out. But yeah, something to keep an eye on. But yeah, no, good stuff.
But yeah, there's more content right there. You got more day one. Definitely check out that Uden Chronicle. But I mean, that's the cool thing. Hopefully, get Plague Tale here soon. So I mean, hopefully they keep this content coming to Game Pass at least. So.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that one, Shockley. Moving on down over to General MLD. Buddy, I thought you had a really awesome show. I mean, you always do, but you had some really great pointers tonight. Where can these fine people follow you at?
Thank you. You'll find me on Twitter at MLD Ghost. Gamer tag is GhostMLD. You'll always catch me playing something or other on there. And here's hoping for next week. We'll get some a little better news, a little more positive news from Xbox. But yeah, we'll see you guys then.
Well said. And Crusader Pal, I thought you had some really good points as well. Definitely lots of information going around, and it's great to have your insights for sure. Where can everybody find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Crusader3456. You'll see me chatting along with my long-winded posts, as everyone says. Just because if something's not worth saying, it's not worth saying. So you can check me out there. I also curate posts on r/gaming leaks and rumors. You can find me there at the same username.
All right, and to close out the panel, you can find my content on YouTube at Invader Gaming and on BitChute as well and other sites. And I'm also active on Twitter at Invader_1986. Excellent stuff tonight, folks, and we're already gearing up for the next one for next week. I mean, tomorrow's Monday, so hopefully we get some really good news, some positive to lead off the week, and again, I'm just excited for, we're not too far away from the Xbox showcase and, other gaming shows coming soon. Again, I'm just really excited for new games and such, and new gameplay, new announcements, and so on. But guys, later. Have a good one.